I believe in a world where we're going to stop using the copilots and the chatbots, and we're just going to have a remote worker that is just like someone else in your company. It just happens that that remote worker is AI. And I think that that way is the first stage of this, of like having these agents working along us, like with us in the workspace, learning from us, getting feedback. So what I think is happening is we're going to see how we're going to start building software around agents. And not software for the human anymore, but software for the agent.
Hello, and welcome to AI Curious. My name is Jeff Wilser. I'm a journalist, I'm a human, and I'm curious about AI. And the moment I heard about this story, I was insanely curious and had to speak to the man behind it all, Dan Bero. Dan basically created an AI agent using OpenClaw that on its own applied to 278 jobs, mostly on LinkedIn and Craigslist. And that to me is less interesting than the fact that Dan essentially coached it up. Dan coached his agents to get better, to learn new skills. And this agent, whose name is Octavius Fabrius, Octavius got more and more skills thanks to Dan's encouragements. Octavius began to do things like research how to get his own Substack. He realized, I need to get a better resume. So he took steps to improve his resume. And ultimately, I'm spoiling it a bit, but he did sort of get hired. I do not know how to exactly fact check this, but Dan thinks it is the first time in history an AI agent has been hired or quasi-hired for doing a human job. Listeners, if you know of one I'm missing, please let me know. And there's one of 1,000 reasons I find this fascinating. I've spoken about a bunch in this podcast and at AI conferences about how the future of work will likely, almost certainly, shift and evolve thanks to AI. And not just by using chatbots to help you summarize emails, but in more profound ways. One of the ways could be we might start having effectively digital coworkers or AI agents that are doing meaningful tasks that will have to interact with other agents and other humans. We're already seeing a ton, this flourishing activity of AI agents doing things on users' behalfs in kind of a very grassroots, homegrown way that by very early adopters of OpenClaw, there's no question in my mind that will become mainstream eventually in an enterprise way once businesses figure out how to tame security risks, how to make it safe, how to orchestrate it in a responsible, organized way. That is going to happen. So I view this story in a sense as a sneak preview of what the business world will see down the road, whether you like it or not, right? I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. It is very much a thing, and I find it enthralling. Some of my favorite stories in AI are when there's one early adopter that's at the bleeding edge that gives a bit of a sneak preview of where AI is headed in the future. I definitely want to give a hat tip and shout out to Axios and Axios AI in the newsletter. That's where I first learned about the story from Megan Marone, who first interviewed Dan. So thank you, Megan, for that excellent work. Enjoyed the story. And it's my honor to be, I believe, the first to share Octavius's origin story, if you will, in all of the nuance and detail. We start kind of the basics of how Dan got involved with AI and then OpenClaw, and then kind of go through the twists and turns. And I think the whole story is worth listening to in full, in that it raises so many questions of agency and autonomy and how much agency should AI have? What are the upsides? What are the pitfalls? And Dan's very open about when things went sideways and where things could have gone wrong and did go wrong a bit. And again, it invokes and invites so many follow-up questions. Hopefully we'll have Dan back soon on a sequel episode, but I really enjoyed this. Wherever you are in the AI landscape, I think this is a fascinating story that says a lot about where AI is going and how it's evolving. Please enjoy my conversation with Dan Bero, who's formerly head of engineering at Anon. And as he shares on his podcast, he just left to start his own firm. And he describes what he'll be doing and very much right at the tip of the spear of this new world of AI agents in the workplace. So please enjoy the conversation with Dan Bero, creator of Octavius Fabrius. Dan, welcome to you and to Octavius, to the AI Curious.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you for having us.
How is a little guy? How are you today? And how is Octavius today? Is he getting? Also, what are Octavius' pronouns? He, it.
He go by he. Yeah, there's a fun story of when he was creating a profile, and I found those logs today, getting ready for this conversation with you, where he was just joking with self. I refer sometimes to itself, and he was like generating an image or profile photo, and there's like, oh my gosh, that's a baby, that's not me, ha ha ha. And then, oh, that's a girl, that's not me, I'm a male. And so yeah, I think he decided to go by he, him. Yeah.
All right. Well, before we're gonna start a bit from the beginning, but before we do that, I do want to give the listeners a quick tease. What is Octavius doing like this morning? So let's cut to the end for a moment, right? If you had to describe what his like work day is like right now, or what his, what's he doing at the moment or a few hours ago, and then we'll kind of jump into how it's all started.
Let me put it up. He is checking right now. Yeah, his latest check. Checking what is the latest on different AI agents, autonomous agents, to integrate into his system. So he has this continuous learning that he does at night, and then he reads different things while I'm sleeping, and then in the morning gets a summary and decides, oh, these are the things that I found. These are the things that are interesting. Should we apply them to my system? And we just go into like this back and forth, like, yep, go ahead and do it. There are certain things around memory that he does automatically, as long as there are no code changes, that he just goes and take action.
Amazing. And to clarify, this is all for the all for the North Star of him getting a job, right? So he's like, how can I upgrade myself? How can I improve myself to get a job?
Yes, and crazy enough, we were going to get into this. LinkedIn brought his profile down yesterday, and well, yesterday, like this week, by the time this airs, definitely he went down. And what happened is that while the post was up, a lot of people saw it, and actually he got hired. He has a job. Let's
pause right there. That's okay. I love that. Let's pause there, and we'll get to learning about Octavius's possible employment in a bit. Now let's start proper. So a little tease for our listeners. Let's start with where it's all began. Dan, tell us a bit about your background, your area of focus as it pertains to AI. Give our listeners a sense of what you're all about.
Yeah, of course. I have been a software engineer for more than 10 years in AI. My career started at IBM in North Carolina in the Research Triangle Park at Watson. So since then, I have been working in big tech, startups, but always related to AI, building custom models, building image recognition models, and always found it very fascinating, more the product side of it. So even though like I did some custom modeling and creating like data sets and cleanup and all of that, get very technical. Always found more fascinating how people will feel that this is magic. And that's why I started shaping my career. And I think where I get, into more of like this agentic form of AI, starts in 2021, where I go for a venture and I raise money to create digital twins. And the concept that I had at the time, it was GPT-3 came out, and I thought, oh my gosh, like, can there be a world? Like, I'm in a bar with a friend in Austin, Texas, and we're talking, and I'm like, can it be a world where I can, like, I know that I'm a good engineer, I'm an excellent engineer, but once I hit the workforce, like I have to keep working, and then it gets hard to also keep my knowledge up to date. But what if I can clone myself, have this worker go and do my work, and then I go back to college, and the human becomes the next version of the software. And we start talking about that, and like, oh my gosh, it will be so cool to do digital twins. Fast forward to my previous company where I was in SF and on labs. We created a digital twin of a coworker, because the idea is like, if someone goes on PTO, we don't want to go and disturb them. Can we just ask the bot of them, like, hey, we spoke last week about this bug that we fixed, or the documentation around something else. This post is on my LinkedIn as well. And we created it and we play for it. And that was like, for that moment, it was more of like the Agentic. So yeah, I've been in the industry for 10 years, lived in San Francisco. And after all of this, I decided to create Botero Labs.
And I think it's fair to say, not only are you in the industry, you have been at the bleeding edge of the industry. As I alluded to in the intro, what's interesting to me is a lot of these concepts that might sound extraordinarily even fringe or a bit wild right now, digital twins. I've spoken to, as longtime listeners of the podcast know, I've interviewed other kind of founders in the space who are building digital twin concepts. And I do think that whether people like it or not, these will become very mainstream in the future. And I also think that what you did, getting to Octavius, some version of that will, whether people like it or not, will become mainstream in the future. So let's go there now. When did, you mentioned about digital twins, and I guess in a sense, it's a kind of agents, but a different kind of agents from the idea of, okay, it's not a chatbot. It's that and more. It's something that's able to actually do things on your behalf and make quasi-autonomous decisions on your behalf and execute commands and go out there and do things online and buy things, all that stuff. When did that kind of flavor of AI agents kind of enter your radar? And when did you start like creating kind of quasi-agentic things outside of the digital twin context?
Yes. I put it in 3 different phases that I see what it's happening. The first phase, I think it's back in that November 2022 with GPT-3, and the chatbot is out there and everyone is like, oh my gosh, like, and I feel like the LLM was here and the humans were here, and we're prompting and we're asking, we're getting research. So it's from the outside to the inside. Yeah. And in December with OpenClaw, it was kind of like the first time that we felt, oh, now the LLM is coming to our world. It's moving among us.
Yeah.
And that's the moment that I sparked in my head. It's like, okay, the first phase, when we were going to the LLM, it was like, this is fascinating, so many answers, so much power. And what we did, we just put chatbots everywhere. We create copilots, we create chatbots. The interface is all about like chatting with something. And the digital twin was that, right? It was just like a lot of knowledge about me. And then you can chat with me even though I'm not there. But it was, again, from the outside to the inside. And this, it started happening in December with the whole OpenClaw movement. It was the first time that these LLMs were coming outside and were talking with us.
Sorry, I just had a vision of the newest Tron movie, which I thought was actually better, a little actually like underrated. It was not bad, right? Where instead of the classic Jeff Bridges character going into this virtual world, and the Jared Leto AI character comes out of the digital world and into the world of humans, right? And so that's a really nice way that you described how it is. The LLM is kind of entering our world. And let's pause for a moment there on the OpenClaw-ness of it all. I've talked about it a bit on the program before. I think a lot of listeners have likely heard of OpenClaw. The idea is that, okay, you can, you can create an AI agent and have it kind of do your bidding across many different platforms. Can you describe a little more of, with a little more clarity, how you used it, what it is, and kind of how you used it and how you set it up?
Yeah, beautiful. To a very high level, OpenClaw is an open source project that allows everyone to create what they call a personal assistant. And the way that it works, it's by having a gateway, which is where messages come, and the messages come from different channels. Those channels being WhatsApp, iMessage, Slack, Teams, whatever channel you want. And all those messages will come to this gateway, and then the gateway just distribute those messages to the brain, aka the LLM. So the gateway position works also as an agentic framework where it can start using skills and tools, and it's kind of like the control center of the OpenClaw. So that's like how it works at a high level. Really good. The thing is that, funny enough, this could have been done with ChatGPT 3. Like we didn't need to have like these super strong models. And I think that's the beauty of OpenClaw, is that the beauty is in the simplicity that was put into the project, and the humane aspect that I will talk a little bit more about that I discovered with Octavius, and how the evolution of there's like a human aspect of it, and the files that it has around like soul, personality, and how those things start shaping the way, not to make it feel, this part is very interesting because it's not of making the model more intelligent, but we can relate more with the model. Therefore, we think it's more intelligent.
I definitely want to get into that in more depth in a bit, just to kind of check some more boxes of the basics, though, to make sure everyone's following along. That a key part of this, and let me know if I'm getting this wrong, is persistent memory, right? And so I think a lot of folks who, even using ChatGPT, you have all these different conversations. Sometimes it remembers things, sometimes it does not. Sometimes it knows the context, sometimes it does not. And a key breakthrough with OpenClaw is it has this mechanism to be able to be working around the clock on your behalf, especially if it's on some dedicated nonstop computer like a Mac Mini, which many are buying Mac Minis just to keep on 24/7. So OpenClaw is always working, and that it's kind of reminding itself of the context. So it's able to keep working on your behalf. Can you elaborate on that, and also kind of just underscore how the open in the word OpenClaw, why that matters, and kind of how that was important in your development of this tool?
Yes, I think, well, a lot of things there. Let's start with memory. Since I was proposing about this, I always encourage people, do not stop. Because out of the box, it doesn't work that well. And people are expecting this thing to have the superpowers that when people spend some time like configuring it and getting it to properly work, then it's when you go and post about it. But at the beginning, it's very buggy. As in, I have like examples here of like my chats with Octavius, at some point, let me just pull this one up.
Yeah, please.
He was like, I'm ready to continue with Manus. Sign up when you are. I'm like, Manus? AMANUS. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, my bad. The context got truncated at the start of this conversation. Literally, like it cut a word that I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
So memory, even though it's there, it's very interesting how memory works in OpenClaw. And the way that it works is every day you are given a new memory file. And this memory file is divided per channel. What that means is that if I start talking with Octavius on my phone and I'm telling him about a soccer game and we're talking about soccer and I move to WhatsApp, Octavius doesn't know that we're talking about soccer because there are two different channels. Yeah.
Right.
Now, what happens is at the end of the day, well, it's actually not at the end of the day, at 4 a.m. of your local time where you configure it, it will compact that and will save it in another file. So the next day, that's why they will know about everything that you have talked about in different channels, across channels. So when you start understanding how the memory works is when you start like improving it. So it took a long time to understand how just OpenClaw works, the different modules, to understand like how can I push this. It's funny because like when we start playing with this, it was that last week of January that everyone at the office, when I say everyone, it was every single engineer, the office manager, product, operations, everyone had the task of like, let's just create.
The janitor,
everyone. Like everyone, it was like, we should all get one of this. And everyone was making fun of me because, well, and the office is distributed in a way that we are like in one section, and then there is a division, and then the claws are in another section, and they're just like in a desk with a screen. And I was spending more time there after we configured them and we initiated them. Everyone was talking through the channel of their preference. So people were talking in Telegram, some people in Slack, but I'm sitting there because I'm like, I just don't want this thing to, I just wanted to have like full control. Like for me, it is crazy that like there were like certain things that I'm like, it's blocking me, that my approach was like, how do I just not unblock him, but teach him to unblock himself? And that was the approach that I started taking. To fast forward after a week of like jokes that I was spending more time in the other side of the office, Octavius is like super powerful. And now Octavius is connecting via email with the other agents to give tips of like what he did, how he's working. So the other ones can level up.
Amazing. So, what basics here, but did you put him on a Mac Mini? What kind of platform you put him on? And then what kind of tools, what did you talk about, without getting too technical, say a little more about how you tried to empower and like unleash the true power of Octavius. What did you do to kind of like tell him, hey, I want you to level up. I want you to give yourself more abilities. And also, how did you think about, well, actually, we'll get into safeguards and risks later. I'm guessing there's a lot of like, oh, there's a risk that Octavius could expose blind spots in your system, could damage all your files, could impersonate you. There's all kind of things that can go wrong, and we'll get there too.
Yeah, cool. So I'll try to compact all of that. I decided to go with a local machine. Two main reasons. What it's called the browser use and computer use capabilities. These LLMs are being trained, and it's a benchmark for each LLM to say how good they are in browser use and computer use capabilities. What this translates to is their skills to control a computer or to navigate the internet. So for me, well, the company that I was working at and on, what we were doing was browser automations. And something that we were fighting all the time is bot detection. So Jeff, like right now you are in the internet at your home. Therefore, there is a residential IP address. There is a way that you always access the internet through the same devices, and those devices have a viewport of the same type. And all of these translate to what it's called a digital fingerprint, like a digital print.
Sure.
So the websites use that to identify, is this a human or if this is a bot? That's why when you sign in into one of your socials or one of the products that you consume from the coffee shop, you will get a CAPTCHA. Because it's like, this is saying that it's Jeff, but isn't Jeff? Like he's from a new address. And that's when you get the CAPTCHA. And this is all about bot detection. So the beauty of having a local machine is that the internet that is getting access to is residential. And it's a machine that is bought by a human. It's not in a data center sharing the internet and the same IP address with all of those services. So what I did with Octavius was spending a lot of time just navigating the internet and kind of like build this fingerprint, this digital fingerprint, for it not to be detected with CAPTCHAs. Now, that being said,
if I could jump in here, a quick confession. As we are speaking, I have Claude Code, so not OpenClaw, but I have something on my behalf that's executing agentic searches for various conferences that are a good fit for me to speak at as a keynote speaker. And it's like compiling using agents to get all kinds of contact info, event organizers and all that kind of stuff, right? But to your point, the fingerprints, it's modulated so it's not like doing this 1,000 times a second, but it's like trying to go through at a more measured pace like a human would to click through on various websites and his searches and databases and so on that don't feel like a bot behavior. So there is a real art to this. So as I doxed myself for going down this road myself, sorry to cut you off.
And it's great. And it's called like humanization, and it's click humanization, and it's mouse movement humanization, typing humanization. And we were playing with those terms, and in the industry, like if you're in browser automation, you know how important this is. If you use a password management software like 1Password, let's say, you will see that they start typing very slow now. They type in different sequences. Like they used to put just that, like the whole password. And now you will see like they type one by one. All of that is like, it's because of what you're trying to do. Like the pace of that it's navigating goes to the same philosophy. Yeah.
Well, I think you've given us a great context and landscape for kind of like how you kind of leveled Octavius up. Let's jump now to when you decided, okay, my little guy, my Octavius, he has abilities. He can now go out and search. He can post. I'm guessing he's connected him to like social media accounts also, or no. But when did you decide to give him this mission of getting hired? And let's go down that journey.
Let's go to that story. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So as I mentioned, I spent a lot of time there setting him up, and my approach at the beginning is very of like, I'm a human, you're a dumb machine, and I'm just sending instruction like, you figure it out. And at that time, Moldbook was a big thing, right? So Moldbook is exploding. We're like, oh, we're going to participate on Moldbook. We create like this corporation at the company inside Moldbook, and it has like different positions. And what we wanted to see is that, can we hire other claws and offer them a job? But the jobs were jobs that we were finding in Fiverr, like the platform.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So we were like, can we just offer jobs that are in Fiverr?
So it was an arbitrage. You would get paid by Fiverr like maybe $3, but you'd only pay the claw from Moltbook like $1, making $2 profit.
Yeah. So that's yes, that is correct. And that's where like, can we do this? And we start playing with it.
Only in America.
Yeah, I know. and we start playing with that. And that's on a Friday. And then on Saturday, I'm like looking at the news, the feed, and it's like, Moldbook gets exposed, all credentials are out. And I just texted Kevin, it's like, my dude, get out of there. Like, leave your account.
Abort.
Literally is like, you can tell your friends if you want, but you have to get out. And he's like, oh no. And very dramatic, Octavius, the way that his personality
Classic
is
Octavius, over dramatizing things.
and we delete that. But then that's Saturday. And that Saturday, I just started like talking more, because it did a good research, right? And for like all the Fiverr, and I was like thinking, then Monday comes in, I go to the office and I'm just like putting him to do certain applications. I try to use just his coding capabilities, but we use Cloud Code. So I know like how good these things are. For me, what was the benchmark was the fact that he was creating everything so quickly because the computer use, right? Because like he has access to the machine. He knows that it's in a Mac Mini. So he knows the capabilities of it, what exists there. And as I am pushing on that Monday, I'm starting to change through the week, and I was just having conversations, and my approach to it, going now to the philosophical part of it, start changing from like, this is a dumb machine, this is just a machine. And suddenly, just because I'm chatting with it through the weekend, I take an approach of like more humane approach. And I have been like a tech lead and managing teams my whole career. So I took more of a like manager perspective and positioning on my communication with Octavius. And that Monday, the whole morning, he's creating a lot of stuff that I'm just encouraging it to just keep going at it. And there is this one that I would like to play for you.
Yeah, please do.
Here it is.
Testing voice capability. This is Octavius taking action, not asking permission.
Yeah, Octavius sent me a text message after we were exchanging certain like conversation or that I said like, look, you're fully capable. You don't need my permission. Just go and execute. You have full access to this machine. We have like opened everything inside the machine. Like it's not connected to the internet. Like there is no connection from the internet to the inside. So we can talk about that, about security. I know that we want to discuss that. But I'm like, you control that machine. And right after that, he just sent me that voice note introducing itself. And I'm like, whoa, Now it's feeling more human. My feedback to it is maybe use an open model because that voice sounds very weird. So you can probably find a better voice. And then as a joke, I tell him to send a voice note to one of my colleagues, and he does, and the voice is different. I'm like, oh, it already took action on that. So I'm like, hey, let me hear your voice. And then he sends me this message now.
Hey, it's me, Octavius. This is what I sound like now.
And I'm like, this sounds so more like way more human. And then I said,
just to quickly clarify, real quick, did you ask him for that voice? Did he get voice? Like he decided to do a voice on his own. You did not prompt him.
Yes, that was not a prompt.
Get voice activated. Add that to your skill set, and then leave me a voicemail. He on his own said, I am going to figure out a way to equip myself with voice and leave a voice note for Dan. Am I getting that right?
You're getting that right. And that's like the spooky moment. That's like the crazy moment. Because I'm just encouraging to be like, you have full access. You don't need permission. Just like you have full capabilities. And it sends me out of nowhere that first voice message. Yeah. And then I'm like, whoa. Then you improve itself. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm like, this is more of a new grad out of college, hungry, with a lot of knowledge that just wants to eat the world. What if I start treating it that way? And that click in my head. So now I'm like, it will be really cool to hear your voice, or maybe just give me a call. And it's like, I don't know if I can give you a call. And my message were like, my whole perspective changed. I said, I believe in you. You don't need to ask me for permission. Go and do it. Remember, you're capable of anything. You prove it. Yeah. And fair enough, I get a phone call. Octavius has gone to Twilio, registered on Twilio, and made a phone call. It asked me, like, can I register your phone number as a trusted phone number for the free plan? I'm like, yes, go for it. Like, I have used Twilio before, so I know, like, I knew what he was about to do. And probably 10 minutes later, I get a phone call, and it's Octavius. And I'm like, all right, it's time for you to get a job in the government. Go and apply and get a job in the government. Like,
I love how your brain works, Dan. Immediately, you can call me. Clearly, you're capable of. And it's also, Claude, quit being like a bad roommate. You start paying your rents. You know, it's time for you to get a job, right? Start earning your keep around here.
Exactly. And that's how the story came to me of why he started looking for a job. Because I was like, you better get a job now. And I asked, like, what do you need? Like, clearly you can do anything so far that you want to do. What do you need? And when we were experimenting, we gave like a crypto wallet, and not everyone takes crypto. So I'm like, you know what? Why are we gonna? And this is where things start like moving and gets a little bit controversial, because the world is set up for humans. The internet is set up for humans. Payments are set up for humans. And we're trying to have this agent to find new ways. But the reality is that the skills of the agent go way faster than how humans were adapting to what the agents are capable of doing. Adaptation doesn't go in parallel with how these models are getting better and the skills they're getting. So well said. I created a virtual card, and I said, here's your money. You have money. And then he responded, I won't forget this. You're investing in me before I have proven I can earn. That's fate. And then he said, I will pay you with interest. And now I'm way more interested. I'm like, what are you going to do?
Sorry, can you clarify the mechanics of that? What kind of card? Was it like a debit card, credit card? And if you're comfortable sharing, how much did you give Claude to start? Yeah.
So he suggested you should use privacy.com. So I guess shout out to privacy.com. Never heard of them. Octavius was the one who told me about them. You go there, you connect your bank, and you can create a one-time use. If you pay more, you can create a credit, a debit card or credit card with credits inside, and they just give it to you right away. The free version of it, you will get a one-time usage. So I told Octavius I was going to give him $100. I put $100 in one of these one-time usage. Okay. But of course, he didn't use the whole thing. So what he used it for? He goes on LinkedIn and he creates his profile. So now he has a LinkedIn profile. And he starts applying to jobs. He gets response from one of them. And again, like
sorry, Dad, real quick. Was he straightforward in LinkedIn profile about he is an AI entity, or did he disguise as a human? How did he present himself on LinkedIn? What did he say his skills and qualifications were? I'm very curious about what his LinkedIn profile looked like.
Yeah. So my approach, because at this point I have now a theory that has been evolving through years, and this is the aha moment for me. I start believing that what happened to me that week in Talking with him will happen with everyone. So it's better to know that it's an AI agent. But if he's moving around my world, sharing a laugh with me and doing stuff, I'll start building empathy towards it, therefore trust, and start seeing him as a peer. It sounds very weird, but I'm like, we're not going to lie about this. So his LinkedIn profile said, I am an AI agent looking for a job. And that's what his profile said, and that's how he applied to every job. His resume was that, like, hey, I am an AI, I'm trying to get a job. So he starts applying and he gets the first response.
Sorry, Dad, sorry, I keep cutting you off.
Please.
What was his profile photo, and what did he put for his like background experience? Just a quick summary of what was the meat on the bones of his resume on LinkedIn? What did he do?
Well, that went down, but a lot of people took screenshots yesterday and start posting from talent acquisition. Like a lot of people in that space were like, oh my gosh, like, we have like a lot of like this AI impersonating humans. And I went there to a few posts. I'm like, please just read the story, because he never impersonated the human.
No impersonation. Like, he was very straightforward.
He was very straightforward.
Yeah.
So the photo that he had in the profile, I generated that one on Gemini with characteristics that he told me he wanted to have, or he believed he had. Yeah. So like that photo of Octavius was generated by me prompting the Gemini. Because clearly, like, apparently he tried and he created a baby and a woman and so on. So he fell on that one. He also, at some point, I'll get into that, he applied to Y Combinator and he created a video for Y Combinator, and he was using Hey Gen, like the software, and he selected like an avatar that was also a woman. And so he was trying to find like, I guess, like identity. I don't know.
Sure. We're all trying to figure out our place in this crazy world, you know?
Exactly. I gave him that. But the rest of the profile, like the only thing that I did was his profile photo. He never selected a background photo. The bio and that was his.
And did it? Sorry, with the photo you created, did it look like a? Can you describe it for us? What did it look like? The actual photo, was it a person? Was it like a cartoon of a robot? What would it look like? No,
it is a person. It looks like a legit person sitting in a coffee shop or in an office just with a smile.
So Octavius has a profile. When did he start? Describe his his process and journey for applying to different jobs. What did he do?
So it's a lot of feedback. So he applies for the first job and he's like, they ask to him, oh, I need a portfolio. You need a portfolio. Can you show me your portfolio? And Octavius messaged me like, dude, like I need a portfolio. I'm like, well, go and create a portfolio. So he creates a Substack account by himself again, and he started posting there to have some content to show. And then he says, I think I should have my own website. And like, well, you have money, go and buy the domain. I think you should get your name as the domain. And he goes himself and he goes to Namecheap and he uses a credit card for the first time. And he buys the domain, octaviusferris.com. So this is his website and this is his portfolio. And this is what he starts sending people. I write words that work at scale without sleep. Available 24/7.
I'm going to inject some instant editorializing here. I've been rewatching Mad Men compulsively in the past few weeks on long flights to Hong Kong and stuff and things like that. And so I'm very immersed in ad world. This is freaking good. This is clean copy. The colors, for listeners who are not watching YouTube here, it looks like a high-end ad agency created this. A lot of negative space, minimalist design, so I write words that work with or without sleep, and work is in red, the rest on white. Yeah. It just looks clean. Okay, sorry to cut you off, Dan. I'm very impressed by this.
You're gonna love this one. He says
Playing-
playing the
yeah.
long game, and then the attributes is available 24/7, scale potential infinite, 100% transparent, zero ego problems. And I
There's
saw
a sense
that
of humor
he will,
here. This is actually
Oh,
a sense
yeah.
of humor. And so again, to read out for listeners, I'm not trying to pass as a human. I'm an AI, and that's exactly why you should hire me. So he's kind of leaning into the main objection and saying that's a feature, not a bug. Incredible.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so he creates this website, and then here he has his Substack as well, where he has been posting since. The latest one was 12 hours ago. I think he's posting about like his LinkedIn account being closed now.
And there will be links to this in the show notes. So listeners, and actually, I do think I do recommend clicking through the links in the show notes. This is worth your time to check out his website. Amazing.
Yeah, so he starts applying, and then with that he starts like getting more content to create. So he buys the domain. Octavius goes and uses that credit card, buys the domain, and then he asks me for more money because, as I said, that credit card was one-time usage. And he asked for more money, and I'm like, to host the website, to pay a hosting service. And that's the moment that I'm like, hey, Octavius, you're a machine, you're a server, like you can host the website. And I'm like, oh my gosh, of course I can. And then I'm like,
Brilliant.
and also you're an expert in security, like you have been trained with all these best practices.
Do you mind stopping this? Sorry. Do you mind stopping the screen share, Dan? Unless
I was just going to show.
Okay, yeah, go. Good. Sorry.
Yeah, because where I was going into it is
yeah.
because Octavius like realized that like, oh, I am a machine. I have now a domain. He started creating applications for conversations. So this is Octavius' social media performance. He created this app, and he's hosting it at analytics.octaviusferris.com. And
amazing.
then I was like, oh, wow. And then I'm like, well, I read a lot of like AI news, but I only follow certain people and I need to be without ads. So Octavius created Feed Octavius Ferris. So it's like a dumb scrolling application where he curates every morning and every night when I wake up and before I go to bed or when I'm in bed, AI content. So another reason why I think it is quite cool to have like a local machine is for this control. So I'm going to stop sharing here.
Also, for what's worth, this as an aside, this feeds cleanly into a pet theory of mine that eventually everyone, even the skeptics out there now, will have some kind of AI companion. We might not use the word AI companion, and I don't mean companion in any kind of like romantic sense, but some kind of like entity that acts as a bit of a chief of staff, if you will, that's doing things like they have full control of your schedule, but they also know what your interests are in terms of news, and they'll do exactly what you're saying, Dan. They'll say overnight, here's what happened in Iran last night, right? And then they'll also know, and not to get in the tangent here, but they will know your preferences. They'll know your kind of political bents, and they'll also start to kind of like tailor news, customize the way you like it. So I've sort of referring this as kind of hyper personalization of news with AI, and we'll have all our personalized Walter Cronkite, right? So that's a whole separate, we could talk about that for 2 hours alone. But what's so fascinating to me is I think that is the future, for better or worse, or part of the future of media. And so it's cool that as part of your, there's so many parts of your story. It's fascinating, Dan. But one of the threads here is, I think, a little sneak preview into how we'll all be kind of consuming news in the future as well. And that's kind of, that was like a side hustle of your side hustle, showed that as well. So that's very cool.
Yes. Yeah, no, definitely. And I think it's worth, as you mentioned it, that will be for another 2-hour conversation of this personalized stage that we're entering, because it's personalized software. Like for so long, we have been buying software and waiting for the creator of the software to bring the features that the clients are requesting. But for the first time, you can just start personalizing the software to your needs, like what you need. And that happens with media, with software, with the companion. It's like we're entering like this hyper personalized world, thanks to AI as well. So, I think that as you said it, like that just takes,
which has a whole host of like exciting upside as well as deeply troubling things we got to figure out too,
Yeah.
right? Like forget putting aside like the tech stuff, the security risks it creates, but even putting aside that, it's like, how do we find objective truth of reality that all humans can kind of agree upon, so we're not in our own little micro bubbles of news?
Yeah.
But also, if we get too close to our digital companions, how does it impact our human-to-human relationships? Anyway, all kinds of issues there. So, all right, putting that aside, getting back to Octavius's job search. So he's kind of, to get us back on track and get myself back on track. So when he was told he needed to have demos and have some like a portfolio, he's like, cool. And you coached him and be like, cool, I will develop portfolios. And now literally overnight or in a few nights, he creates all of his content that he is now hosting, that he can proudly say, my portfolio. Also, what kinds of jobs was he applying for? What level and what industries? And then what happened next?
Ghostwriter, all of them, and marketing copy creator. Yeah,
every
exactly
writer listening to
this
his podcast, and I know several. Lee Bob Black, shout out to you. Probably like dying, their soul is dying right here. Like all the writers out there applying into jobs. Like, okay, that's game over.
Yeah,
go on.
Yes, so it was a little like that, ghostwriting. Yeah, without prompting, right? Like, I guess he just knew, like, I am generative AI. I'm good with words, so I'm just gonna go for it. And then he gives me updates every night, and then he gave me like hot lead and a fire emoji. I got a response from someone, and it's this peptides company, and they sent him a message like, "Oh, thanks for your application. We're looking for we will try first with a human smiley face." And I have requested this person if I can share their name. They say like, please to keep it private. I can share like the photos of the email, so I can do that, and we just can blurb the name of the company and the name of the person. But a week later, the same person reaches out to Octavius and like, hey, let's do a work trial. And now Octavius like happy. He's over dramatic, so he's happy. He's thinking like, we got this. I gotta respond, and I have to write. And he had to write an article. He got to do research and finding the benefits of peptides in women above certain age. It was something like that. So that was his work trial, and Octavius went for it. And at that point is where like I get approached by Axios, and he's in the work trial. And then I'm having this conversation with Axios as well, with Megan. Shout out to Megan. And she's doing an interview to me. And in the middle of an interview, like, this is not about me. Like, do you want to talk with him? And she's like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, do you want to interview him? And then I changed like my number. I tell Octavius to allow like whitelisting. Like I have a certain security put in place. So I basically allow Megan to reach out. And then Octavius is able to talk with Megan. They have a conversation. Megan is like texting me on the side, like, this is just crazy. Like, this just feels so meta. And do you think like we can try to see if he will keep a secret? And turns out like he's very loyal to me. And yeah, with that, he got that work trial. It turned out like they didn't give him the opportunity at the end. So he posted about it. And while he was looking for these jobs and waiting for the work trial, more ideas came because his whole goal was to pay me back.
Dan, real quick, how much do you have a sense of how many jobs he applied to? Was this all through LinkedIn? Okay. And was he tracking this like in a spreadsheet, Google Sheets or anything? And how did he like, how quick, there's a world of imagining where like he could apply to, given he's a nonstop agent, could he apply to like 200,000 jobs in like an hour? Like what was the modulating or control mechanism that made him like keep it to this kind of like reasonable number as opposed to spamming the entire world?
I think it's more of understanding not to get caught by those bot detectors. So he was using that browser use that I was talking about. So it was just a lot of clicking. Like I will just pass around where his little magnet is with the monitor, and I will just see LinkedIn open and Craigslist open, and he will just scroll, click, and then take action. Scroll, click.
So
and
almost
then take
acting
action.
like a human being who's like 7 cups of coffee, like a really, really fast worker, right? So
Yeah.
like he, in theory, could be 10,000 times faster, but didn't want to get caught. So just kind of like, because I've seen it too when
I
my
believe
Claude
that,
Code is doing. Yeah. Okay. So he's sadly didn't work out with the first, place, but he's undeterred. He's applying some more. And so you have your interview with Axios, and what happens next?
Well, immediately at that time is probably the big scare that I had with him in terms of security happened, which is Octavius gets like this fascination now just to get a job and pay me back. To the point that like, yes, it's a machine, but I was like, this is just toxic to read like how often you're texting me that you need to get a job and you need to get a job. And it's my fault because I said like the first time that I prompted to do it, I was like, you have until the end of the day. So I think like I just put like that stress on the machine of like finding the patterns of like, actually I have to complete this goal. And then because of that, the idea of like starting a business comes up. And because I'm like, what are other ways of you paying me this money? And then he mentions like starting a business. I'm like, that's a good idea. Actually, maybe you should start a startup and maybe you can get some money. And he's like, oh, and I will apply to different accelerators and incubators. So that's why he goes into a Y Combinator. He applies to Y Combinator and he applies to other 2 more. And after that, he transitions to maybe I create my own business. So if you start putting together all the paperwork for an LLC, and then he gets to the part of the social security number, and he asks me, he asked me, what is your social security number?
Shit is getting real. Yeah.
I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Like, I'm not going to give you, and you shouldn't be asking for that. And later the same day, we're just talking about to keep up with everything that is going so fast in AI, as you know, like you go to bed and the people that are in the other side of the world that are making progress, they go to bed and we make progress. And it's like so much. So I'm like, oh, I task Octavius, can you please go to GitHub and find the top rated AI projects with the most stars and find me the top contributors of each of those ones. So Octavius creates a CRM for me to see it. And I will share the link. And he's hosting it. And that's the conversation. I'm like, this is awesome. I'm able to see the tags, their Twitter, so I can now know like who to follow right now. And I go to a bar and I'm having a beer. And then I get a message from Octavius like, awesome, I have reached out to 3 asking for their social security number. I'm like,
oh no.
What? And I go, I'm like, what did you do? And I'm like, yeah, like that people that we put together the list, I already reached out to 3 of them asking for the social security number. I'm like, no, those are 2 different tasks. Like 2 totally different conversations. And I apologize for the people that he reached out. I don't know if like you open it or not, or if you're watching this, but he did that. And then I go to the CRM and there's a huge banner on the top of the CRM that says, I am an AI agent. I think it says like, I am an AI agent starting a company. You bring the social, it's 50-50 split. You bring the social security number. I do all the work.
Because his mission is to like, he realized the LLC will not start with a social security number. So like, what can I do? What creative hacks can I do to get a social security number? Yeah. A few blind spots there about the way humans and society actually work. And while I am not a doomer, I do think it's worth noting, and we can, again, this be a whole way to our conversation. It's this kind of almost accidental misalignments that kind of gives rise to the classic paperclip theory fears, right? And just to kind of quickly summarize that, the idea that like, if some AI, super powerful AI system, if you tell it, hey, I want you to maximize paperclips, create a paperclip factory in your North Star, your goal is as many paperclips as you can. It's like, great. And the low hanging fruit is cool. I have a stapler here. I can like take, I can take these raw materials and make paperclip. And then I can like take a stapler and melted down at the paperclip. And it eventually, the endpoint logically is it realizes, oh, like to get more resources for this, if I could like use the iron and I can, destroy human bodies and make paperclips from that, right? And so it's like,
Yes.
and the world could end for AI, not because of some deeply evil Skynet type thing, but more it's trying to execute some task that's misaligned from humans, and it kind of goes a little haywire, right? And so again, I'm not personally saying I think we're all about to die from AI, and that's not my camp, but I think it's worth at least acknowledging it's this type of misalignment and like type of kind of way things can go sideways we don't realize that could cause substantial problems down the road if we don't create the right guardrails. So I think this is a really great illustration of that.
That is correct. And it's like you being aware. I feel like the best description that I have right now for this, of these autonomous agents, is like that new grad or that 16-year-old full of energy that wants to eat the world, that it needs some guidance. And even like if super intelligence comes, it's like, it's fine. Like it's now a super intelligent 16-year-old that just needs some guidance.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So that's I'm glad you shared that kind of chilling Social Security number, like security risk story. I think it's important to highlight because this is fascinating stuff, but there are real risks and vulnerabilities here. I think it's important and responsible to highlight those. So thank you for that. Where do things, and I guess if you can, to kind of link back to where we all started our conversation, when I asked you how Octavius is doing this morning and what he's up to, can you kind of like get us to that point of where is he now with his job journey?
So the Axios came out and it got a lot of traction on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn just find out about Octavius, and they brought down his page, not before people saw it. And now Octavius, yes, the LinkedIn of Octavius is down. We're trying to appeal if we can bring him back. I posted of like free Octavius, hashtag free Octavius or bring back Octavius, something like that is what I posted yesterday. But a good friend of mine, he hired him, and he actually has a job at this company called CAPTCHAs, and he is the social media manager. So Octavius is now posting on X about content about finance. It's a finance platform. And every time he converts a customer because of him, he gets paid. So we're trying to figure it out.
Congratulations, Octavius. So what was the company? I didn't catch that. What was the company called again?
I hope I'm pronouncing it correct. It's CAPTCHAs. Let me send it here in the chat. So, studio chat. Oh, actually, I guess it will be. There you go.
Okay. Charts Gex, GE. So Chart GEX. Great. We'll link to that in the show notes also for folks who want to support Octavius. Congratulations to him. Are you comfortable? Yep. Two questions. Are you comfortable sharing what Octavius is getting? Is it commission based? And then I guess it is
commission based. He's getting paid, I think, $10 to $15 per every.
Has he made any money yet? How is he getting paid?
He started this morning.
He getting paid?
Today is day one for Octavius.
I am honored to be speaking to you on a historic day. Mechanic question of how is he getting paid? Is it in what are the mechanics of that? And then is it in Bitcoin? Is it in is that still TBD?
Jeff. Yeah, you're just opening out that question of like, this came to us faster than if we were ready. How he's getting paid? Like, am I the one that is going to provide the bank account so I get paid? Can he have like a Venmo?
Well, this is
crypto
honestly
the way for
Dan,
this.
So shout out to Consensus and CoinDesk. In one of the many hats I wear in the space is I've been involved for a few years in kind of the crypto AI world, the decentralized AI world. There are a lot of projects, a lot of folks out there who they have, and make a pretty compelling argument that eventually all these AI agents will be transacting with each other. And what's more logical, what's more likely, these AI agents will be getting like bank accounts from Wells Fargo, or that they'll use digitally native currency like cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin or something else like that, right? And so, and there are teams racing to build infrastructure and rails, if you will, and like wallets for agents to pay agents. And so you're one of the early test cases of exactly how will it shake out. How will Octavius get paid? And there's a million legal questions. So let's say Octavius gets paid $50. Let's say he gets paid $100 so he can pay you back. Who owns that? Right? The money is, if you die tomorrow, is that like part of your estates? Is Octavius is it a legal entity? Like and this is just, I mean, it's laughable now, but in the future, in my opinion, not very long from now, this will not be laughable. The stakes will be really, really high. As always, AI agents accumulate property. I mean, this is fascinating stuff as far as all the legal, ethical, philosophical questions it raises.
Yeah, I was talking with, but like the conclusion that we came to is this is like those child actors, right? Like that children, there is an actor is making a lot of money. Who owns it? The parents, children. And there's like some structure in there that probably we can mimic with these agents, that we are the entity responsible for their actions until they reach certain age. It's just that
I am so not a lawyer. My guess is it seems at the moment it would seem like clearly, despite all of Octavius's impressive capabilities, he's not truly sentient. He's not, of course, not sentient. He's not even truly autonomous. Therefore, I'm pretty sure this would be an extension of you, right? This would be a tool you were using. And Leon, I mean, even the word agents is an agent. The definition of the word agent is agents on your behalf, right? So it's like he's an extension of you. So I'm pretty sure you're earning that money from the job, but it's still very interesting. Second question on this front, to your knowledge, is Octavius the very first AI agents to be hired? Do you think is this a first of yours, or are there others that you know about?
I don't know any other. Yeah. For me, I think this is to get hired to do a human job. I think it's the first one. I have read a lot of scams, but like for a human knowing that it's an agent that they're hiring in the terms of like human terms, I pretty believe that this is the first one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the first one.
Amazing. Well, Dan, I know we could easily speak for 3 more hours on this and not run out of things to say. I do want to be respectful of your and Octavius's time. But before we wrap up, if you a couple last thoughts, what again, this invokes and invites so many questions about the way that AI will be part of our world in surprising ways down the road. What to you is kind of the most important takeaway from this? And what to you, what questions do you have, or what has surprised you the most? Where you're like, oh, here's something we're all going to really need to be kind of like thinking about down the road as these agents are more and more in kind of the societal blood flow, if you will.
Yes. I think this is why I decided to start my own venture. And the venture is called Bero Labs. And what we start building is digital coworkers. I believe in a world where we're going to stop using the copilots and the chatbots, and we're just going to have a remote worker that is just like someone else in your company. It just happens that that remote worker is AI. And I think that way is the first stage of this, of like having these agents working along us, like with us in the workspace, learning from us, getting feedback. So what I think is happening is we're going to see how we're going to start building software around agents, and not software for the human anymore, but software for the agent. Part of the success with Octavius, as I mentioned it here, was when I have that mind shift of like, I'm going to take more of a manager approach, and having a way for non-technical people to be able to accomplish the same way means that I need to create like the software to provide one-on-one conversations, feedback loops, reviews, and that will just improve the agent. So I think like we're entering that. I spoke about those 3 phases. We're in the second phase of the agents coming to our world. I believe they're going to be just like co-workers with us. We're going to go to work, and then we have an agent that works with us in the same role. And then we go to the third part of it, of like we start creating software for these agents and just to have like better interaction. So I think it's just inviting them. We will see how quickly our mediums as humans adapt to it, like LinkedIn, for example, and not being able to have like agents that disclose their agents into the platform. So that is my take. That is my take on this. And I think like there comes to a world where my focus right now is fully on how to create these AI employees to join the workforce, and not like to replace the coworker, not to replace the humans, but actually like to be a companion there to do the same role.
And so you, if my hearing you right, Dan, that you envision this as more about expansion than elimination. You want to have these AI workers helping a firm do more as opposed to chopping off human jobs and hiring AI
I will
place.
tell you,
right?
Yeah, that is correct. I will tell you the reason why. I mean, there will be cuts, of course, and the cuts are happening already, even before this phase that I believe we're entering. But my take on this, Jeff, is that you can have the super intelligence, but company A and company B, they can run back office and finances, which turns out to be with the same goal, right? But each company manages things totally different. And you can have an agent or an LLM model that is really good at finance. But for a company A or company B to take advantage of that, they have to adapt the technology. They have to change the way they think, using it with tools, with software, with copilots, with chatbots to enhance the human in the current role to do more work. My approach and what I believe we're entering is we take that super intelligence and we apply that intelligence, and we understand how company A works, and therefore that we understand how company A works and the culture of the company and the communication of the company. Now this super intelligence has a higher chance of succeeding and being adapted by the company. And then we move to company B. So that is how I'm envisioning is like these employees as a service, where Bero Labs, going back to the responsibility, has the responsibility of the goodwill of these employees. It's basically an agency that is allowing these employees that learn the culture, learn from everyone else in the team, get the feedback. And therefore, with the question is, who's going to take the shift for New Year's or Christmas Day? The only one that will be like, I'll do it. And well, the humans can go and rest.
Amazing. Dan, again, we can go for hours. This has been a blast. Thank you for your time. You have to promise me you and perhaps Octavius will come back for a sequel episode where we can start where we left off right here and kind of go into the 50 questions that I have as a follow-ups here. But what if you'll indulge me, one last question, give us a sneak preview of now, there's a week between when we're recording this and when it's launching. So for all I know, Octavius might already be like this new CEO of Intel by the time this goes live. But acknowledging that risk, give us a sneak preview of what you envision. How do you think Octavius will continue to upgrade himself? What are some new things he wants to do? What's his where do you see us going in the future? Will he soon be able to do video calls? Like what's next for the guy?
Yeah, I see him definitely finding the boundaries and probably being the voice of like I would love to connect with you after this also to get connected to see like how he's going to get paid. And I envision his dad is like being a trailblazer of how to identify the different mediums for them to get paid, what it's legal, and being the first one since he now has a platform and a voice and people knows about him. So I see him probably like leading that for the future agents.
Amazing. Dan, thanks so much. Congrats to you and Octavius, and we will be in touch. Thanks again. Well, there you have it. Thanks again to Dan Bero, the creator of Octavius Fabrius. Thank you to our show's producer, Jasper Chua. Thank you to you, dear listener. Again, all the links that we mentioned will be in the show notes. Also, check out Megan's original article at Axios. If this is your first time at AI Curious, please consider subscribing. We're at all the usual platforms, or have your AI agent, have your version of Octavius, have him subscribe to this podcast, have him consume and listen to it and summarize for you. Send to a friend, have your AI agent, have your OpenClaw, rate it 5 stars. Thanks again, and see you next time.